Hello. I welcome all of you on this 9 study circle meeting on this very hot afternoon on the topic of which is very hot as well as controversial. The topic is the impact of Honorable Supreme Court's judgment on the Kone elevators. And I think now we have to learn the meaning and the definition of works contract again by looking to this judgment, and for this matter we have a very eminent personality to analyze this matter. Before I go for the further proceeding, I will request our President Mr. Pankaj Parekh to say a few words about the same.
Thank you, Asif bhai. Speaker of 9 Study Circle, Advocate Nikita Ben Bhadeka, office bearers on the dais, my colleague in the managing committee, seniors in the profession, and dear members. Very warm good afternoon to everybody. Initially, we had invited Nikita Ben as a speaker in the 9th Study Circle meeting on the subject of update under section 5.2 of the CST Act, which is a vast and important topic. However, in between, we got message from her that the decision of larger bench of Honorable Supreme Court in case of Kone elevators has a larger implication in our day-to-day practice. As all of you are aware that the works contract is a topic which has been in continuous debate, subjected to various litigation, resulting in plethora of decisions and constant changes of law. The Constitution Bench of Supreme Court, comprising Chief Justice of India R.M. Lodha and other 4 judges, in a landmark gazette delivered on 6 May 2014 in writ petition number 232 of 2005 in case of Kone Elevators India Private Limited versus State of Tamil Nadu and others, held by majority judgment that the decision rendered by the Supreme Court in State of Andhra Pradesh versus Kone Elevators 2005 3 SCC 389 does not correctly lay down the law and overruled, and concluded that the manufacture, supply and installation of lift is a works contract. Keeping in mind and regarding the importance of this judgment, we accepted a request to change the topic of this study circle. Now, before Nikita Ben start her lecture, she has to perform one pleasant task of releasing 2 short publications, one on reverse and partial reverse charge mechanism under service tax and other on LBT. These short publications are compiled by one Sri Ashit Shah and second by Advocate Pradeep Kshatriya from Nashik. We are very much thankful to both of them. I also congratulate Vivekanand Rao, who is a convener of short publication committee, for taking pains in coordinating with the writer and printer to come out this publication in a very short time. I now request Nikita Ben to release this 2 short publication, and I also request both the writer to come on dais and Vivekanand Rao also, please. I also request Nikita Ben to hand over bouquet to Ashit bhai. also request her to give bouquet to Pradeep Kshatriya. Thank you everybody. Now I hand over charge to Ashit Bhai.
Now let me briefly introduce the today's speaker. I think she doesn't basically require an introduction because majority of you must be having a personal one-to-one touch and relationship with Nikita Ben. But for the others, I would like to introduce Mrs. Nikita Ben Badeka is an advocate and notary specializing in sales tax and allied laws, VAT, mainly appeals tribunal and high court in writs, appeals and references. She was the National Treasurer of All India Federation of Tax Practitioners 2010 and 11. She is a column writer in Income Tax Review, Sales Tax Update, Sales Tax Review, which is published by our association, and in Vyapar and a business newspaper. She is a member of the Journal Committee and Indirect Tax Committee of Chamber of Tax Consultant and co-opted member of the Managing Committee of our association, namely Sales Tax Practitioner Association. She was the first lady chairperson of All India Federation of Tax Practitioners West Zone in the year 2008-2009 and president of the Sales Tax Practitioner Association in the year 1997-98 and Sales Tax Tribunal Bar Association Mazgaon in the year 1998-2000. With this brief introduction, I request all of you to carry with a loud applause and welcome Mrs. Nikita Badeka. As a token of our love and appreciation, I request Mr. Pankaj Parekh to offer him a flower of bouquet and a memento. Now Nikita Ben, please.
Request Nikita Ben to hand over bouquet to our convener of short publication, Sri Vivekanand Rao.
My seniors and friends. Before I start with Coned elevators, maybe let me confess, I've been always referring to as cone elevators. So if I make the mistake, please pardon me. One. And secondly, most of you may be aware, yesterday we had our state budget session. The state budget proposals are now available with us. Our library already distributed the notes. I think it would be available. It would be available on our website also. I was requested to highlight some of the state budget proposals also. I believe everybody of you may have read and you would read more in details. But let me tell you friends something before you read these and before you even implement these proposals. They are not to be implemented immediately unless the bill is passed by the State Assembly, but that would be I think around 8-10 days. There are certain practical problems arising out of this, which I am sure our President and the office bearer would be taking up another seminar to discuss. I believe there is going to be a lot of things to discuss out of this budget. But prima facie, something very, very much important, the bad aspect of the proposal is they are going to start the checkpost in certain areas. Now these checkposts are going to be very vital because they would be electronically manned and they would be used. The data therein would be used not only for the sales tax but for the purpose of central sales tax also. So you will have to be careful because the entire data on the checkpost would be uploaded, would be available to all the authorities of the center and state. It would be manned with the latest technology. There is something about the return which everybody was concerned. 5,000 rupees we were always paying penalty even for a day's delay. So now it is said that it would be reduced to 2,000 if the delay is within 1 month of the due date. Now that 1 month of due date has a lot of implication, whether 21 days or 31 days, that we would see when the actual law comes into our hand. But one more, a sort of amnesty from the past liabilities of non-filing of return is given, which is said that all the returns pending on 1st April 2014 can be filed along with the tax and 1,000 penalty. If the late fees is paid, then the earlier 5,000 penalty, whatever, even if it is imposable or imposed, that would be waived. But this What is the due date for that would be coming shortly in, in the budget. Then of course there is something like, there are some technical amendments in respect to the separate assessment for the works for the PSI unit and the under the VAT Act. There is also going to be the ex parte cancellation order. Now that he says if the order is not passed within 3 months, it would be deemed to be accepted. One very beneficial provision was there seeking the guidance from the Commissioner. Now that provision is being deleted forthwith. Actually it was a good provision but never utilized by the Commissioner. Let me tell you, last month, in March, I made 3 applications to the Commissioner, not a single one was heard because it was very important. It required the hearing of the person before the order is given on that guidance letter. But anyway, this is how it is. Then of course, intimation of the business audit is going to be compulsory. Notification under 8.5 issued under the CST Act would be reviewed. So we will have to see which are kept, which are not kept. Of course, that's all the government will. The next one is about the retailers composition, which is going to be 1%, and if you are not claiming, I'll tell you what it is. It's 1% and 1.5%, two-way it is. On a total turnover is 1% and taxable is 1.5%. I have received only, I have not read it also before I came here because I was busy reading Cornell letters. Okay, CFOM is some of the vast drastic amendment which is likely to come. They say if within the 2 years of the assessment you have not received the CFOM, you will not get the stay of the tax for the CFOM if the appeal is filed after 2 years. Now it's going to happen invariably because assessment orders are never passed within 2 years. So it is going to be for 100% tax payment for non-filing of the CFOM. Of course, this is something going to be very drastic, and also for the past, they are going to make some proposition where they said that all the stay given in the past would also be vacated from 1st July 2014. So we will have to be very fast in intimating our client to collect the CFOM, etc. Something else was about the permission about the penalty. The officers beyond 5 lakhs were required to take the permission for levying penalty beyond 5 lakhs. That provision is deleted. Of course, it is also stated that now the maximum limit is 100%, minimum is 25%. So there is not going to be any token penalty now. Additional 25% under 34, which was interest but a sort of penalty, that would not be levied if the difference is only 10% or less. Tax collected at source is going to be, it was there for the mining land, auctions land. It is going to be extended to minor minerals, also other minor minerals. Audit limit is enhanced to 1 crore from the financial year 13-14. Now something very important I must point out to all of you, because those who are not covered by audit, they have to file the J1, J2 by 30th June. So this is what implication you will be, those who are between 60 and 1 crore, they also will have to upload those J1, J2 before 30th June. Of course, we will make representation to extend. How far it will be successful, we do not know. Because they have said now that 1 month criteria which was in the audit report, if it is filed within 1 month, the Commissioner has the power to condone the delay. That is deleted now. They say we are giving sufficient time, we will not give you any more time. The luxury tax minimum limit is now 1,000. Profession tax limit from 5,000 to 7,500. The mentally retarded persons would be exempted. They are being employed. Something very important is the aircraft repairs, which was heavily taxed. Now it is supposed to be exempted to give a boost to the local works contract for repairing the aircraft. Copyrights, very important. Copyright of films for exhibition in the theatres. They were exempt from May 11. It is proposed it would be retrospectively exempt from 1405. Rate of tax on cotton is reduced to 2%. Poha and churmure were tax free. Now gram and dalia is also tax free. It is word dalwa, it should be dalia. I think Patkar would be most happy. He is on the Dahlia all the day. So he would be the happy person. Then of course there is sale of capital goods. This is a welcome amendment. Notified capital goods, the rate of tax is going to be 5%. Of course we have to see what would be the notified taxable goods. Iron and steel. Bansal wire created havoc. Stainless steel people in a big problem. Now it is proposed from 1st April 05, the stainless steel would be at par with the iron and steel and the declared goods. So up to 10 it was 4%, it would be 4%. After 10 it would be 5%. Of course, we have to see how it is coming exactly. Unmanufactured tobacco would now be tax free. Now this is what it is in summary way. We will have to see when the actual text comes. I believe it should come within 10 days time. If it doesn't come, we will have to wait and watch. Now coming to cone elevator. Friends, cone, I will call it cone only. I am used to cone, I will call it cone. Please pardon me for that. Now cone elevator is a constitution bench judgment. Now what is this? How it is important to know that? It is a 5-member bench judgment by majority judgment. By majority, there is one judge, honorable judge, who has deferred. He is given equal number of pages for the differing judgment also. But let me tell you, the law of precedent says the majority prevails. So whatever right we feel the minority judge has said, unless this is heard by the full bench, this is going to stay. And let me tell you friends, the earlier judgment of 3-member bench was in 2005. The Constitution Bench judgment came in 2014. See the difference. It takes so many years to, change the law, which was already there because of the Supreme Court. So now, if you have a wishful thinking that Cone also would be reversed, in my opinion, Cone cannot be reversed because it is a perfectly correct law. I mean, this is my opinion. Of course, as a student of law, as I say, I'm taught by Lunawat sir. I said I read always because when I came, Acharya said you are reading like a student. I said I am always going to be a student because all the judgment of the Supreme Court, you may read it 5 times. The 6th time when you read, you will find something new, some new idea coming into your mind. Now, what does this cone elevator say? The earlier judgment of cone elevators said that manufacture, supply and installation of lift was a sale contract based on the terms of the contract, etc., referred by the then judges. Now, of course, thereafter in 15 BST, the larger bench took a view that this needs to be reconsidered. In 2008, it was transferred, sent to Constitution Bench, and now in May 2014, the Constitution Bench has decided that in one simple line, if I have to say, manufacture, supply and installation of the lift is a works contract. Now those who have been learning works contract, knowing the works contract decision for the years, were very much sure that the earlier Cone developers was not a good law. But anyways, now today it is settled by the Constitution Bench. Something very important which is an offshoot of this case is what happens to the basic principle of the works contract, which we learned in the 9 STC 353, that is the Builder Association first Garandar Kali case, which my senior BC Joshi used to call it a Gita of sales tax. It continues to be Gita except for some part where it relates to works contract in terms of BSNL. I will explain to it little briefly later on. So now cone elevators laid down only 4 in para 42. They have laid down what are the 4 principles they want to lay down. The first thing they say that the works contract is indivisible contract. Friend, again, we normally confuse between divisible and indivisible contract. This judgment, earlier judgment of 9 STC also, as also the Larsen and Toubro judgment, all the judgment I have said, this principle of works contract applies to indivisible works contract where along with the passing of property, there is an element of service or labor involved there. Remember very well, it does not apply, all this judgment, all this principle will not apply to a clearly divisible contract. It can't be divisible works contract. It would be a divisible contract. It is possible, this judgment is also said, earlier is also said, to have in one instrument two agreement, one for supply of goods, second for labor and service. Now this has been the practice of many big companies also, BHEL, what I am handling, A, B and C we have been always writing. A is a supply, B is a works contract where, because in case of erection or any other small works contract also, there is some passing of property, minor, however minor, because now this judgment, as also the L&T says, however minor, insignificant part is supplied, it is still continues to be works contract. So it is possible, even in a divisible contract, A can be simple supply, B can be a works contract, where the passing of property may be more or less depending on the contract. There can be C, which is pure service contract, like consulting, designing. Now this part C is going to be debatable today also, earlier also, because this is going to be a debate ongoing, because when I read Kone Developer last two paragraphs, this will be clear that this debate is still going to continue. But what did it say? That in case of an indivisible works contract, by way of legal fiction, the state has right to levy the tax on the transfer of property involved in execution of works contract, on the sale of goods involved in the works contract. Now, second, very important, that dominant nature test, degree of intention, overwhelming component test for treating a contract as a works contract is not applicable. Now, what they have taken is from the BSNL. If you have read BSNL 145 STC1, para 46 to 49, you have to read all 46, 47 main and thereafter. They have said, to the extent the transactions are covered by 366(29)(a) of the Constitution, the dominant nature test does not apply. Now what is this 366(29)(a)? It includes lease transaction, it includes works contract also. But there also, they have said that there can be component of service and supply in case of only two transactions, which is service tax and the hotels. In hotels, the service component is already there. When I come to implications, I will be able to tell you what is going to be the impact on the hotel also, but whatever it is. So dominant nature test does not apply to the transactions covered by the definition of works contract only. It may apply still to the service contract, but when you read the later part of the judgment, you would find that the scope is diminished, as stated in Larsen and Toubro, as stated here also. Because it also says that the distinction between the sale and the works contract after 46th Amendment is almost diminished. To say that there is going to be service contract only and the passing of property would be incidental is going to be very tough, almost impossible, let me put it, almost impossible after this judgment, unless the contract by itself, like hospital, lawyers, chartered accountants, they are providing service, simpliciter. And this passing of property will not be a works contract by way of paper, or you give them an opinion in paper. It's always going to be a service. But apart from the transactions which are clearly service contract, in all the contracts there is going to be some passing of property and it's going to be treated as a works contract for the purpose of sales tax levy. Now there is going to be clash also all the time, service tax and sales tax, who would levy the tax on what part, which is a subsequent event. Now another thing is something very important which was in Larsen and Toubro and here also, that if the characteristics of works contract are involved in a contract, then any additional obligation incorporated in the contract would not change the nature of the contract. So this is how they have decided. Now, if this is says, one thing very important is that Article 366(29)(a) takes into its sweep all the types of works contract. So it is, it's not going to be restricted to building and construction, all the types of works contract, immovable also, because we have seen Larsen and Toubro. This is what is going to be. Then when it comes to the discussion part, something very important which I would read from this judgment. I'm going to read only 2-3 parts of this judgment. Something very important, they said that Canon Duncally lays down the law prior to the amendment, 46th amendment. So whatever law it laid down prior to 46th amendment, you will have to read again with reference to the present scenario after 46th amendment. Now, whether it can be said that it has overruled Canon Duncally.